So I see a lot of talk about people that get stuck in a loop, whether the campaigns never go out of learning mode, or they're like seeing very high CPMs, CPCs, or they're unable to scale, or they see the first couple of days on the campaign are doing, really good, and then the other days are doing extremely bad. And usually these are people, believe it or not, that have been running on Meta for a very long time. And a big part of the reason that happens is the fact that they're used to something and they haven't made the adjustments. So the Andromeda update that Meta introduced right before Q4 of 2025 was a very big one. And what it did, before that, we used to say, some people would say creative is king, and some people say, account structure, like media buying knowledge or techniques were the king. Now, Meta turned into an AI first platform. It's mainly based on algorithm. So whatever you do, you need to put the AI first. That means that you can have a mediocre creative, mediocre landing page, and even mediocre offer, and it would still work if you understand how to go with AI and the algorithm. Of course, you still need, uh, you know, good creatives, and you need to improve that, and you need really good offers. But at the end of the day, if you don't go with the algorithm, you can have the most amazing offer with, a superior product or service that costs way less than the competitors, with very good creatives that are made by the top agencies with amazing meta accounts, but it would still not work. So this is the reality. I'm going to oversimplify this because, my YouTube videos are short, but you need to use ABO as your testing. That's essentially your lab. And then the CBO is where you actually scale. That's the field. That's where you take whatever is already proven in terms of like being the winner, and you start burning budget there. Basically, the way that it works, and the issue with testing on CBOs is that the AI now is not just reactive, it's also predictive, meaning it's very easy to ruin the signal or poison the signal, if you will. So what it does is it's testing the first 1,000 impressions, which is basically nothing, and it looks at the reactions of the users, whether they stopped, whether they clicked, whether they engaged with the ad, stuff like that. And then it decides, okay, this hook is great, or creative is great. I'm allocating 90 to 100% of the budget towards that. So what happens is you end up not testing all of your creatives. So that's why you want to switch into ABO. Okay, so ABO, what I usually do would be 3 to 5 ad sets. Unlike CBO, you do not need a very large budget for that. You can run it at 1 to 3x your not target CPA, but maybe the actual CPA that you're usually getting. And then what essentially you do, you force the spend. And now I want to talk about something new. Meta introduced not too long ago to some accounts, and it's rolling now, an ad spend and ad level forcing of spend, which is also very good because it basically says, okay, I'm going to put this new ad set inside this campaign. I'm going to introduce a new ad into the campaign, but I want you to force spend into it. I want to actually test it. That's a new way. Some people are doing that. I'm talking about the more, I don't want to say conventional, because, this all Andromeda update is quite new, but it's still the best practice as of right now. You know how meta changes. So let's say you're doing 3x your CPA or target CPA on the ABO. You're running something like 3 to 6 ad sets, something like that. You're not, the other issue is that people are looking at ROAS. You're not looking at ROAS at this point. You're looking for the statistical winner. You're looking for the early metrics. You're looking for the engagement rate, the CPM, the CPCs. You want to see something that could sustain and survive 3 to 10 days of big budgets. Okay, so that's what you want to do with the CBO. And then let's say you have, out of those 5 6 ad sets, you have 2 or 3 winners. You take those into one ad set, and then you can do a CBO campaign. And here you want to spend something like, for example, if on the ad sets we spend something like $500, Here you want to scale it to at least, 2 to 5,000 a day. You want to allow it essentially something like 10 conversions a day, even at really bad CPA. Because if it doesn't go out of learning mode, this campaign is highly likely not going to reach anything. I know that in the past, Meta's best practices were not usually best practices, but in here, I can tell you after testing this specific statement for almost 2 years, there is a direct correlation between the amount of campaigns going out of learning mode and into active and your actual CPA decrease. Basically, you're paying less. So what you want to do is throw it into a CBO campaign and you don't touch it until it goes out of learning mode. Even if it does well, you do not increase the budget. So that's one thing. The other thing is how many ad sets am I actually testing? Sometimes people make, and that's one of the largest mistakes. They're making a lot of ads and they want to test everything, and the budget has to be in ratio with the amount of ads that you're actually testing. So the $2,000 would fit the 3 creatives on one ad set, but consider that every ad set and almost every ad also needs to go out of learning mode. So if you're not allowing those 50 conversions into that ad set within a number of days, let's say something like 5 would be kind of like a really good point, then you're essentially not really testing and you're not allowing the creative to go out of learning mode. So if you know that you don't have the cash flow or the patience or the courage to actually test or spend 2 to 5 grand a day, test a lower number of ads, so at least you have a CBO that has a chance of going out of learning mode. So that's one thing. The other thing is I talked about not looking at ROAS, and I said that with regards to testing and ABO. But all in all, in 2026, the other thing that I noticed, I'm going to create another video about that, is that attribution and dashboard attribution is kind of like broken. I see people ending up pausing the winning ads that actually create revenue or profits and scale up the ones who lose. So you really want to look at MER, which is the marketing efficiency ratio. Essentially, that's the total revenue divided by the total spend. But basically, you don't want to base your decisions on ROAS. You want at least 2 or 3 dashboards, and definitely that's where you test. So that's the current structure that I'm testing. That's the structure that I'm scaling with. Definitely suggest that you move towards that. Not a large number of campaigns, consolidate them. I know that we as media buyers are very technical. We want to overcomplicate things, but excluding audiences, targeting audiences, lots of these things that worked in 2020, 2021 are no longer required. AI is doing a lot of the stuff that we used to do in complicated or complex account structures. Let me know in the comments below what you see in terms of like the results. Thank you for watching this video.